recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Tamir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your
Ahmadiyah.
skin?
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, given to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
Touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. I see a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric Malcolm.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and
difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life? Sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. When I did that.
To apologize. It's too
When I did it, I was fucked up.
late to apologize.
I was fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you? You know you done fucked up.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins or your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so let's get into it. Everyone, please get those likes up. Had to change that background. It's looking crazy. All right, so everyone, please get the likes up. And with that all being said, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr.A_Shakur, Twitter at DGoddess27. All right, and don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you haven't been receiving those notifications. Okay, all hell nah in the house. Byron B, Lots Queen Candy J, Sophie. All right, Nessa G, Dragon Lily is here. Shout out to my moderators putting in work. So let's get this party started. Pretty Wings, I see you. We the people in the house. Okay, Nessa G, Karima. All right, so let's get it started. Shout out to everyone in the chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. Okay, so we're up and at it early this morning. With that all being said, now first things first, let's talk about this situation with this book. This book that's supposed to be Kim Porter's memoir, but we don't have any proof, or we haven't been, it hasn't been authenticated. We can't say if it's true or not. And even the person who put it out, Chris Todd, can't say whether it's true. And I don't believe it is true. I don't believe anything that he says. I just find him to be a liar who lies. Okay, now before I play the interview with him talking, before I get into that, I want to first just remind you guys of some of the things he said in that Rolling Stone article, okay, that I found to be problematic. All right, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And then he said he can't say if it's true or not, so that was a dead giveaway for me. Hold on, let me see if I can dig that up real quick. Okay, here we go, right here. Now, this article came out 3 days ago. Okay, so now here we go right here. I'm going to start right here. A man by the name of Chris Todd, real name Todd Christopher Guzzi, or Guz, is Guzze, according to records, is behind the book. He describes himself as a producer, author, and investigative journalist and claims to have worked on and solved some of pop culture's biggest murder investigations, including Nicole Brown Simpson. Now, I'm sorry, I thought Nicole Brown Simpson's murder case was solved when they um, said OJ did it. Now, of course, OJ was acquitted, but didn't they pretty much just say OJ did it? And if not, who did it? Where's this person that he claims is the real killer? Because I read some of the stuff that he wrote. He basically tried to imply that OJ had an accomplice. That's what he tried to imply, that it was OJ, but he had an accomplice. But anyway, it all sounded crazy. Now, then he says he solved John Benet Ramsey's murder. Now, we know that right now to this day, that's supposed to be listed as a cold case. Then he said that he solved the Zodiac killer, among others. He also claims to have evidence that Kurt Cobain's suicide with an S was actually a murder. Okay, so all this stuff right here is all false. Let's prove it. Let's prove it. Let's look up right now and see who killed John Benet Ramsey. Because he said he solved it, right? So if he solved it, it should be easy for us to find. Okay, I'm about to show you all what it says. Because it's easy to prove that someone's lying. Pretty Wing said these are all unsolved murders. I know they are. I know they are. These are all murders that I have researched thoroughly in the past. All right, now pay attention. There it is right there. I don't know if you all can see that, but it clearly says, hold on, let me just enlarge it. I can't believe nothing this man says at this point. Anyone who would lie about things that are so easily debunked. How could I believe anything that you say that's serious? Now, it clearly says the shocking murder of John Benet Ramsey remains unsolved, and dogged investigators continue to work the case, looking at clues and tips to generate new theories about who killed her. Now, let's look about the Zodiac killer. Who is, because he said he solved it. And I'm telling y'all right now, I'm a serial killer expert. And I'm not just saying that to be facetious or whatever. No, I'm literally a serial killer expert. When I tell you guys that, I mean it. Dr. Eric Hickey, who is a world-renowned serial killer expert who's interviewed hundreds of serial killers, told me that I was an expert due to my extensive research and the amount of time that I have spent researching. It's been years. So I'm absolutely a serial killer expert, and I happen to know that the Zodiac killer was never caught. Who is the Zodiac killer? Let's see what it says. The Zodiac killer is the pseudonym of an unidentified serial killer who operated in Northern California in the late 1960s. Okay, that's the nickname they gave him because of the types of clues that he was sending to law enforcement at the time. This man has never been caught. He remains unidentified till this day. But he solved it. But let's continue. Now, he also said that he solved who else? John Benet Ramsey, Zodiac, Nicole Brown Simpson, and Kurt Cobain. Okay, well, he said he proved Kurt Cobain's death was a murder, not an suicide. So let's see. Was Kurt Cobain's death a murder or suicide with an S? It says the suicide of Kurt Cobain. That's what it says, okay? Following his death, conspiracy theories that Cobain was murdered were spread and reported. Okay, here's another one. FBI releases Kurt Cobain file about his death. Suicide note was found at the 2001 book Love and Death, The Murder of Kurt Cobain. Okay, FBI sent identical responses. Okay, so that's a book that somebody wrote. The FBI released a 10-page file that included letters from fans urging the agency to investigate Cobain's death as a homicide. Okay, so that means that they still are saying that it was an suicide. So I'm sorry, but this man's telling a whole lot of lies here. This man is telling a whole lot of lies. Brian T. Bill says Selena school teacher Donald Hardin was the Zodiac killer.
Okay. Yeah, well, until that's reported and confirmed by the FBI or anyone official in law enforcement who has worked on the cold case, then I'll believe that. I don't want to hear rumors and gossip. Okay. Let's talk about facts. I don't come here to talk about rumors and gossip. Well, most of the time anyway. I come here to talk about facts. All right. Brian T. Bill says him and his wife broke the Zodiac cipher. Okay, again, when we have hardcore proof, then I'll go with that. Just somebody putting stuff in the chat's not going to do it. I've researched the Zodiac killer for years, okay, and I haven't seen any of what you're saying. Now, with that all being said, let's take it back to Chris Todd. Or Todd Christopher Goose, or whatever he calls himself. Todd published a memoir under the pseudonym Jamal T. Millwood, a reference to a conspiracy theory that Tupac Shakur's 1996 murder was faked and he is living under the alias. Now, here's where I know he's lying, for damn sure. First of all, Tupac is dead for real in real life. I knew Tupac in real life, and yes, he's dead. He didn't fake his death. So sit down somewhere. This man is full of shite. Okay, according to Todd, the alleged memoir ended up in his hands shortly after Cassie Ventura filed her detailed sex trafficking and sexual abuse lawsuit in November. Two people allegedly close to Combs and Porter contacted Todd about the memoir, according to him. Now, here's where I want y'all to pay attention. They said they had her flash drive. I didn't ask too many questions about how they got it. Where did it come from? Here's how you know he's lying. Now, you should know he's lying. At the end of the day, he's an investigative journalist. Let him say. He says he's an investigative journalist and all that. He solves crimes and cases. So you mean to tell me that somebody does thorough research, goes out here and solves unsolved murder mysteries and all that? He's not going to ask specific questions. If somebody just gives you something and says, hey, this belongs to so and so, they're dead now, but here it is for you to write a book about it. You're not going to ask them questions. Well, where did you get this from? How do you know that this really belongs to Kim Porter? Did she give this to you before her passing, or did you find it? How did it come to be in your hands? Are you sure if the things in this book are true? Have you contacted any of the people that are in here about these accusations? He didn't ask any questions. That's the first red flag. Now, here's the thing. As I told you all before, I'm not going to continue reading this. We don't have to. At the end of the day, as I told you all before, people believe what they want to believe. Okay? Byron B. said the butler did it with a candlestick in the den. Ha! Mr. Byron B., please sit down somewhere. This is not a game of Clue, though it sounds like one. Okay? And so, with that all being said, I don't believe this man. Now, before I play him talking about it and clearly telling lies as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to have a word from my sponsor. Byron's talking about with a candlestick in the den. Honey, I haven't heard about Clue in so long. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
So, with that all being said, you can purchase your 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Look for Lisa Crafts. And also, you can purchase it at Walmart. Okay, Walmart.com. Now, with that all being said, let's get into it. Okay, I'm about to play this video. You all be the judge yourselves. You all be the judge yourselves. Hold on, let me cue it for just a second. Hold on, beloveds. I need an overlay. Hold on. And by the way, you all do know that this guy is not somebody who looks like me, right? You all do know this guy's not my skin tone. That's another thing that really bothers me. I'm just keeping it honest. That's another thing that bothers me. This man is not my skin tone, and he's sitting up here making all this money off of Kim Porter. Yeah, I have a problem with it. I'm sorry, I really do. Hold on, let me see if this is gonna work. Okay, there we go. Just putting up my overlay real quick. All right, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
I prayed on it, and I felt I was to take a leap of faith, so I came forward with it.
Some people would say, why publish it if you're not 100% sure?
Well, I also am an investigative producer, an author.
Hold on, beloveds. Let me add a little bit of background music, honey. I'm not trying to have any problems. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, sorry, I had to add some background music, folks. Sorry.
I'm a storyteller. A lot of my fans know me very well. And the media and Hollywood, a lot of times, they don't want the truth. So they do projects and stories and unscripted and scripted that are not always completely 100% true. I'm no different than them. I would like to turn this book into a movie or a series, and we're shopping that right now.
What, from reading these pages, what is your overall takeaway? If this is in fact Kim Porter's memoir, what is your takeaway from it?
It's disturbing. It's dark, it's sad. This is an abused woman telling her story. When I first read the whole thing, I only had a couple pages at first. Now, as for the tapes, I've been told that I can have access to the tapes.
What are the tapes? First, start there. What tapes are you talking about?
The big ones.
You're talking about sex tapes.
Yeah, but with very famous people.
Okay, so talk to us about what you were told about the tapes.
That if I pass the test, they trust me, I will be the one to do it.
Who's they?
The sources and the people around the community of Kim and Diddy.
And with all due respect, why wouldn't they bring that information to law enforcement? Why wouldn't they just drop it in, CNN's or ABC or any other news outlets mailbox? Why come to you as opposed to law enforcement or another media organization?
If one of the people are underage in the sex tape, I have to, per my attorney, go to the FBI. I'm not going to comment right now if I'm in possession of the tapes or not, per my lawyer. So, but to answer your question, these people are scared. And what you're saying, like, well, if they just dropped it off at CNN or they just emailed it, that's not the appropriate way to do this.
Okay, well, I mean, look, you're in a very interesting position right now, and clearly a lot of people are very interested in what you've presented. But I mentioned this before, I'm going to mention this again. As you know, this has been met with criticism. Porter's family and friends say this memoir is a fake. Albie Shore says it's fabricated, that it's offensive. Reportedly also came out and said, quote, a significant suit headed right for the heads of the responsible parties who dragged my name into this. Porter's friends, Kimora Lee Simmons, LaWanda Lane, told Rolling Stone that they don't know you at all. Lane said every page in that book is false.
Did you know you could be entitled to a 5 or 6 figure payout if you were in a traffic collision within the...
That Porter wouldn't write a memoir, that she would never write a memoir, that she liked her life to be private. Rolling Stone also reported that a source close to the Combs family says the family is exploring all of their options and saying, quote, the baseless pages in the book not only misrepresent Miss Porter's lived experience and legacy, but also continue to cause unnecessary distress to her loved ones. And her children came out with a statement today on Instagram, which I read before. What's your reaction to all that?
We did $1 million in sales in 12 days. The people want the truth. There's people writing me from all over the world, thanking me. What you just said, I know I'm still reading this stuff. I can't even keep up with it right now. I've actually have to hire people to read the stuff. We have to think about who these people are talking about. They're possibly talking about the devil. So if they say it's not real, remember who's saying that. Okay? A lot of people believe it's real. A lot of African Americans believe it's real. They're telling me, they're calling me. I'm talking to all the bloggers and podcasters because I'm an open book. I talk to the little people. So my point is, I still am assessing what's being said by everybody close. I get it, but this is what happens just like on my other cases. Yeah, they said they didn't do it too. And it turned out to be I was right. So like I said, this is going to play out. I can't say I'm 100% right this second, but I'm not pulling that book down. Under my
I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention. He said he's not pulling that book down. Of course he isn't. He said he made $1 million in 12 days. He's in this for the money. No, he's not going to take it down. And the fact that this man who doesn't look like us is profiting off of a person like him's death and exploiting her, as far as I'm concerned, it just really doesn't sit right with my spirit. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it really gets on my last nerve. Now, at the end of the day, I don't believe that anyone gave him a darn thing. I don't believe anyone gave it to him. Because at the end of the day, what do they stand to gain? And if they're so afraid, then why would they give it to him? Why wouldn't they just keep it and keep quiet? Why is it that he won't say who these people are? And he doesn't know how they came to be in possession of it. It all sounds real sketchy. I think this man, and I want you all to pay attention, because anybody could have written this stuff, and yeah, it may sound truthful to some people, but look at it like this. Much of the information in that book is gossip and rumors that we've likely all heard before. A lot of that stuff is gossip and rumors that we've all heard before, and all he had to do was add names to the gossip. If we heard Diddy was messing around with this man or this woman or that woman, and we didn't know who these celebrities were, all he has to do is add names to it. I just don't believe him. Something about him screams liar to me. Not to mention the other credits that he's given, talking about he solved these famous stories or whatever, these famous crimes. He has not. It just proves you that he's a liar who lies. So I do not believe him. And this is all about money for him. And with that all being said, Byron B said, I'm going to write about why he cut his hair with a nickel. Sit down somewhere. Now listen, here's my thing. Troll with Truth says, why aren't you saying Diddy exploited Kim? It's not about race. It's about whatever I say it is. I said that's how I feel. Okay, if you disagree, that's fine. But I said that's how I feel, because people who don't look like me very often profit off of people who do look like me. Okay, off of their life, off of their pain, their grief and suffering. That's what happens. Look at Juneteenth. That was a holiday that was given for us to be celebrating the end of slavery. But who profits off of it? People who don't look like us, because they're out here selling all of the merchandise and all this, that, and the third. So please sit down somewhere. Don't come in my chat telling me what it's about. It's whatever I say it's about. Okay? All right? Now, with that all being said, and Diddy, yes, Diddy exploited them, but this isn't about Diddy. What the hell does Diddy have to do with this fake book? Okay, so let's not gaslight or deflect. Now, if you like to, I can drop the link so you can get up here and tell me what you really feel. Don't come here telling me what it's about. Now, let us continue because, like I said, I don't like the fact that he's profiting off of it. Trolling with it says, you're dealing with elite gangster billionaires who traffic kids and do bad things. I would expect people to be secretive. Well, exactly. And that's my point. This is why I don't believe someone gave him anything, because if someone did, what do they stand to gain? They gave it to him so he can make money. Is that what they did? Or they gave it to him so he can put out the truth because they were afraid to, if it was the truth or if it is the truth? But what about this is going to help benefit anything? How is this going to help Kim? Even if it were true, which I definitely don't think it is, but even if it were true, how is this going to positively impact Kim's legacy? How is this going to positively impact her children who are still grieving the loss of their mother? It isn't going to. So what's the purpose of this book? To make money. And people know that lies and negativity, salacious stories of all kinds of drama sell. People know that. Anyone could have put this together and then put it out there to sell using a pseudonym or whatever. Okay? Please pay attention. So with that all being said, yeah, I have several questions, but let's continue.
First Amendment right, my civil rights, I'm not pulling it down.
Are you prepared to potentially be sued over this?
Absolutely, I'm already prepared. And also, let's remember, Amazon, Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. Okay? I'm sure he's for freedom of speech and also some form of free press. I've been blocked and censored by the media for years, and I'm not going to bring it up. Everyone can do their own homework. It's not happening to me anymore.
GoForms makes it easy to digitize documents or build new digital forms from scratch.
Let me say this real quick before I go back to him. For one, he's lying. He hasn't been blocked and censored by the press. Okay? Censored by the press for what? All right? Because I've seen some of his other work. And what this man does is he takes tragic incidents and then he makes money off of it, because he actually did a book about the OJ situation called Ron's Revenge, where he's talking about Ronald Goldman. I just want you all to pay attention. This man is nothing but a leech, okay? Leeching off of other people's pain, misery, and grief. That's what he's doing. But let's continue.
There was a quote from you in that Rolling Stone article where you say, if I'm so hot and my story and projects #1 on Amazon, where is everybody? Where's my agent? Where's CIA? The people I called for 12 years. I'm trying to explain to you, this is not about Kim Porter. It's about Chris Todd. And I wonder if somebody could interpret that statement and say, you know, he's taking this and he's saying whatever he needs to say for fame and fortune. It's not about getting the real message out there. It's not about getting Kim Porter's story out there. It's about Chris Todd. What would your response be to that?
You know, I worked really hard to get to this point. And the other case that I did recently, that was supposed to happen like this.
Hold on, let me read this comment from Troll with Truth. Says, I hate to break to non-believers, but the book is about 83% true. The rest, AI filled in allegedly. Okay, well, here's the thing. Where's your proof of that, Troll with it? Because this man right here who put out the book said that he doesn't even know if it's true. And he said he believes. That means he doesn't know conclusively. That means he doesn't know for sure. That means he doesn't know for certain. That means he can't prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. He said he believes that about 80% is true. So if the person who authored it, Troll with Truth, okay, if the person who authored it claims that they don't only think or believe that 80% of it's true, where are you getting 83% from? How do you know? Do you know more than he does because he put it out? Please sit down somewhere with the foolishness talking about I hate to break non-believers. First of all, you don't know if the book is true, just as anyone else doesn't know if the book is true. He himself says he doesn't know. And that's because it isn't true. If it were true, he would definitely know it. How can he say it's 80% true? He doesn't know that. He's just hoping. That's what he said he thinks. Okay, so please pay attention.
That was supposed to go viral, and it didn't. And that's up to God. I don't control that. Obviously, we're here at this moment, and it's probably the biggest scandal story in America right now. I feel that I just work hard, keep my heart and mind open, and I'm kind of guided spiritually. And I will say this, and I don't know how this will come off to people. I have many cases and many victims. My clients are mostly murdered victims or deceased victims. I am the voice of the voiceless, right? Now, what I meant by saying like, well, that's not about Kim so much, it's about Chris Todd. That's to keep a little bit of a buffer for her, okay? So that everyone's not so focused. And I know also the sources, they know that too.
Now, let me tell you all something. I want you all to pay attention because at one point during the interview, I don't know if I played that part or not, but at one point during the interview, he said that it wasn't about Kim Porter. It's about Chris Todd. Okay. It's about him. And then so the interviewer asked him basically, what does he mean by that? So now he's trying to say that he's just saying that to give Kim a buffer. So he's saying that like as if he's protecting Kim. Oh, it's not about Kim. It's about Chris Todd. How are you protecting Kim when you're putting this stuff out there? That's intimate details of things that supposedly happened behind closed doors that her children could read at any moment. Like this is not about him trying to protect Kim, trying to give her a damn buffer. He's full of crap. This is about him making money off of a Black woman's murder or death at the end of the day. That's what it's about. Okay? Hold on. Trouble with Truth says, Queen, why do you sound so unpleased about this? Why aren't people seeing this as more of exposing bad rich people? Exposing bad rich people? Are you saying that Kim Porter was a bad rich person? Is that what you're saying, Trouble with Truth? And you're really asking, why am I so unpleased with it? Because this is a beautiful Black woman who, while she was alive, carried herself with style, dignity, poise, and grace. And for things like this to be put out there and to further for someone to lie and say that she wrote it. Yes, I'm upset. As is her family, friends, and loved ones. Okay? At the end of the day, that's why I'm upset. Now, this man is the same complexion as you, Troll with Truth. That's the only reason you're trying to defend him. Because he's one of your people. But at the end of the day, Kim Porter's one of my people. So I feel the difference. So sit down somewhere. Now you say, I'm talking about Diddy and the people that allowed bad things to go on. No, you're not talking about Diddy because we're talking about Kim Porter. We're talking about Kim Porter's fake book that this man put out. Okay, we're not talking about Diddy. So don't sit there and talk about bad rich people being exposed when we're talking about Kim Porter. And now since I went in on you, you want to try to change your story and act like you're talking about Diddy. What the hell's Diddy got to do with what we're talking about here today? Okay? We're talking about this man, Chris Todd, and this fake book that he put out. That's what I'm talking about. And like I said, don't sit here and say that Kim Porter is no bad rich person who's being exposed. How do you expose somebody when all you're doing is making up lies? Lindax said, Queen is correct. How many people are named in this book? Because how many ex-Johnsons are there in this world? The end of the day. Trouble with Truth, just be quiet, okay? At this point, please stop. Please stop, okay? Before I have to put you up out of here. Live Queen Candy J said, clearly never been on your channel, Queen. Stop interrupting our live broadcast and sit down and be quiet. Maybe you'll learn something today from the Queen of Receipts. Okay, thank you, beloved. Let me continue.
And I'm not stupid. Are these sources playing me a little bit? Maybe, but that's okay. If I have to go through some pain and hardship, if I have to go to court, it's not going to be my first time in court. And
now, please pay attention to this foolishness. He says that maybe they're playing him. And if they are, that's okay. Now, I want you all to use your critical thinking skills right here and right now. If they are playing him, he said that's okay. So that means if we're thinking critically and not thinking foolishly like Troll with Truth, who's clearly should change their name to Troll with Lies, With that all being said, that means he doesn't give a darn if it's true or not. He's just putting it out there to make money. And then he bragged that, oh, in 12 days, we made $1 million. So it is all about money, even though he wants us to think that it isn't. Okay? Please sit down somewhere. Like, I absolutely cannot with this dude. But let me continue.
And I put out a message to some of the people to get to the lawyers. Be careful. Because remember, you're talking about Kim. It turns out that it's Kim's typos and they're her lies.
Now, I really want y'all to pay attention. This mother sucker just said, if it turns out that it's Kim's typos and her lies. Now, here's what I want y'all to think about. Because remember, they said in the Rolling Stone article that there was numerous typos. So he's trying to blame his ignorance on Kim. Did you not proofread your own works? Did you not have it professionally edited? Clearly not, if it's got a mirage of typos. Okay, if it's got a barrage of typos in there. Now he said, if it's Kim's typos. Wow. Like Queen Candy J said, no, he didn't go there, Queen, with the air quotes, painting a narrative. Yes, he's trying to say that if it's lies in there, don't blame him. Kim's the one who lied. No, you lied, sir. And then he had the nerve to say the typos, as if he's trying to act like Kim couldn't spell correctly. Well, here's the thing. Even if someone misspelled something and you're turned into a literary work of your own, common sense would tell you to correct the spelling. Those are his typos. This is really pissing me off, honey. I don't know about y'all. DJ Big Six said, devil, fork tongue, word wizard. Exactly. Jay Sanders said he's a slick talking devil. Absolutely. Absolutely, that's what he is. But let's continue.
Remember, you're talking about abused women.
And would you be willing to submit these papers to an independent auditor of some kind or an independent agency to verify that it's, her work? I don't know how they would be able to do it, but because it's not handwritten. But if there was a mechanism in place to independently verify it, would you do that?
I have some things I haven't released yet that can show very much more that this is really hers. I have to do it piece by piece. And also the sources are testing me a little, and they're trying to, we all agreed that we need to see what happens when the memoir comes out first. I have 2 pages from that flash drive that are endearing, they're heartfelt, they're actually done by someone else wanting to help Kim. And that really explains more of why this is happening, why they waited all these years, why they're using me. I mean, they're calling me a culture vulture and a parasite and a colonizer. I get it. I'm just telling you right now, God brought me to her.
Now he's going to try to put God in it. You guys, please pay attention. He said God brought him to her. So, sir, you put out this work because God wanted you to tell this stuff. God wanted you to write a book about threesomes and orgies. God wanted you to talk about people having freak-offs. Sir, I know you didn't just go there, did you? I know you didn't just go there. And he said that God brought him to Kim. Wow, really? And now he's deflecting and gaslighting, basically trying to make us feel like if we talk down on him, that essentially we're talking down on Kim. That if we call him a lie, we could be calling Kim the lie. That if we call out his typos and misspellings and all of that, that we are saying that about Kim because she's abused. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. Okay? This man has the white savior complex. That's what he's trying to portray here. Oh, I'm the white man come to save the little downtrodden black woman who lost her life. And God sent me to her, and it was upon God's will and wishes that I wrote this book. And now he's claiming, please pay attention. Now he's claiming to have other pages that he didn't include in the previous works that basically elaborate on why they waited so long and why this had to be done. all he's going to do is write some more bullshit and add it to it. This man is something else. But he said they called him a colonizer, a culture vulture, and a parasite. Well, he's all three and then some. They didn't lie.
God brought her to me. I'm sorry that I'm white.
Let me ask you this. So the timing of this, Sean Combs was arrested and indicted last week. The book then comes out. Well, actually, that's not true. The book has been out for how long?
This is what we're going to talk about, and this is going to be fascinating to you. And I also want you to bring up the name Jamal T. Millwood.
Putting that to the side for a second, I wanted to ask you this.
Okay, the book was published September 6th.
Okay, the book was published September 6th.
Sean Combs was arrested later. He wasn't, I didn't know he was going to be arrested. That's what people are trying, they're confused about. They're thinking Diddy did this. And they're saying, well, I didn't have some inside source that he's going to be arrested. I'm not the FBI.
Right.
CIA agent. Okay. So I took a leap of faith. Now, at that point, when it started to come out, it was kind of quiet until they did an article about me, which I'm grateful for. Then things exploded quickly. Okay. I would have put my name on the book if Sean Combs was actually in a jail cell. He wasn't. Okay. So it's cryptic. And that's why the book says for Kimberly Porter, not by. I can't say by her. That I have some issues legally with that. So my point is September 6th.
You darn right. You're darn right he'd have some issues legally if he said by Kim Porter. Because first of all, you're lying. Those are all lies in that book. Those are lies in that book. And like I said, the reason it sounds plausible to many is because some of the stuff in there is rumors that have been in the streets for years. Okay, and the rest of that stuff, he just flat out made that stuff up. That stuff about Albie Sure and Diddy, he definitely made that stuff up. There's no way in the hell that Kim Porter would ever have written something saying such things about Albie Sure. That's what she would not have done. Okay. That's not what she would ever have done. Here comes Troll with Truth again. Troll with Truth, do I need to block you? Saying so, if most of the book were actually true, would you have preferred it to not be published or the bad people who abused them to be exposed another way? Well, here's the thing. You keep saying the bad people who abused Kim. The only bad person who abused Kim allegedly is Diddy. And Diddy's already been effing exposed. That's why he's sitting in jail now. So what other people are you talking about other than Diddy that abused Kim? Because Trouble with Truth, your only argument really is because you enjoyed the book and you want it to be true because it's salacious to you. That's more important than truth because you people who love celebrity gossip, that you just follow these celebrity gossip sites, that's all you care about is low vibrational bullshit and lies and gossip and rumors. You don't care if any of that stuff is true. That's why celebrity gossip channels can just make up lies and feed them to you because y'all don't use and exercise critical thinking skills. Okay, that's what you don't do. You fall for anything because you simply want to believe the bullshit. Okay? You love to believe the bullshit because it's juicy and salacious. And quite frankly, that's what nosy people and gossipy people love to do. And it can be entertaining sometimes, I'll admit. But at the end of the day, not at anyone's expense. Okay? Not at Kim Porter's expense, as far as I'm concerned. And so with that all being said, you say if it were true, would I still want it to be kept a secret? Well, if Kim wanted it put out, then that would be the question. But at the end of the day, I don't believe it's true. And the person who wrote it, he doesn't even believe it's true, really. That's why he said, about 80% of it's true, I think. And then he says the people could be playing me. That's okay. So if the people are playing him and it's okay, that means he doesn't give a damn whether it's true or not. He's just trying to make money. That's all he's trying to do. But what do we expect from somebody like him?
Comes out, it's a leap of faith. It catches fire. He goes, okay, cool. I didn't know he was going to be arrested. So the timing, maybe there's some more spiritual element involved here.
Has law enforcement in touch with you after this book became so public? The book became published, and these allegations came out, or not even allegations, the words that you published. Has the law enforcement reached out to you?
We have just printed 25 discount vouchers to help you get your hair back. These vouchers.
I cannot comment on that.
Okay. So, Chris, before we finish up, what do you want people to take away from this? And again, because you're in this very interesting position, what are you hoping people take away from this, and what can they expect within the next 6 months?
I want people to hear and feel Kim's voice. So that I didn't write that book. None of it. I edited some of it. I moved some formatting around to help her punch at the end of the chapters. I put the disclaimer in. I X'd out certain people. They didn't want me to. They wanted to burn the forest down. I X'd out a couple people and situations, and I removed the photos also from the book. I am going to release the photos probably today. As to what happens.
What photos? What photos do you mean?
There's photos in there that no one's ever seen that are from the flash drive.
Can you give us any clue about what those are?
I released the Kim Porter abuse photo, we call it, where I had sent it to reporters with blue on her face, like blurred out. That was released by the Daily Mail. You can see it there. No one has that photo. No one ever saw it. They only have a one-time use for it. So I'm going to give that possibly to other outlets. I have other photos with Sean Diddy Combs with famous music executives. I have them doing some things. There's no nudity. It's not sexual. What I'm saying is they're pictures of him that tell a story. And so nobody ever saw these pictures. So the sources wanted me to reveal them.
Where's the question? How does he know that no one ever saw the pictures? Timex Love said, why the F do you care about Kim Porter? You are not, nor were you her friend. Exactly, because it's about money. That's all it's about, beloved. It's all about money. Now, I have questions because he's sitting here saying these photos have never been seen before. How does he know this? If these photos were Kim Porter's in her possession, how does he know they've never been seen before? Has he gone thoroughly through her Instagram? I mean, or any of her social media? Has he talked to any of or all of the people who know her? What is he talking about that they have never been seen before? Terry Hinn said this man is a dirtbag. I concur. He absolutely is.
Well, I wanted just Kim's voice to be heard first and just for her to talk to the audience. But now that, the lawyer for Sean Combs, one of them, is using words against me and saying things, I'm now going to start releasing things. It's my turn to fight back.
Let me just end on this. In terms of your research into Kim Porter, you said you looked into this. I'm sure you got a great understanding of who she is. You hear her family saying she was a private person, would never write a memoir. Do you disagree with that, in the sense that maybe whatever was handed to you was written by somebody else to get this narrative out? So back to the overall question of how you think this comes from Kim Porter. Do you think she really was the kind of person that would write something like this to get it out there, or not?
I do. And I've dealt with a lot of victims on cases. And if her death had mysterious circumstances and she's coughing up blood at her Toluca Lake house, and there's some suspicious things about her body being moved and where the evidence is, look at what she's saying that he did to her. Okay. He's threatened her many times. So, and now the thing too, look, if I was saying this about some kind of halfway criminal, we're talking about Sean Combs. Think about that.
First of all, he said if he was saying this about a halfway criminal, but we're talking about Sean Combs. What does that have to do with anything? at the end of the day, he still could have gotten this stuff and just made it all up. I just don't believe him. He doesn't sound believable to me. And Volvo to Love says, I can write this book with all the info we now know. Exactly. Anyone could. You could just take the story and add your own twist to it or whatever. Okay? This is all crazy. Troll with Truth says, I did not enjoy the book. I found it very saddening, but I feel more people need to know that Hollywood is fake and full of crazy misleading the masses. The family should sue if they feel it's fake. Well, Hollywood, we already know about Hollywood. I think everybody already knows about Hollywood at this point. Okay, I just did a whole video last night exposing a lot of the dark side of Hollywood and the music industry. So we clearly know about that. But at the end of the day, if her family says it's fake and her friends who all loved and adored her said that it's fake and her kids are saying it's fake, why is anybody believing this man? That's right. Sherry Cherry said, where did he get his information? He claims that somebody gave it to him. He claims that two people in the industry who are close to Diddy and Kim gave it to him. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. Now, the question becomes, if these are people in the industry who were close to Diddy and Kim, they weren't involved in anything in the book. They weren't at any of the FOs. They didn't go to the parties. So I just have questions about all of that. And secondly, if they were close to Diddy and Kim, why would they be giving it to him, the information to this guy? Why not give it to someone who was friends with Kim or someone that Kim knew or someone that was close to Kim, like them? Why would they give it to a complete stranger who Kim nor her friends or family even know? Her family and friends said they do not know this man. Why would they give it to him? And why isn't he telling us who these people are? Okay, I have a whole lot of questions. Oh, hell no, said, why him? Who is he? They just giving info to some random? Exactly. That's why it doesn't make sense. And like Judge Judy loves to say, if it doesn't make sense, it's a lie. This man is lying. Okay, this man is lying. Now, he said he was going to release pictures. Okay, now this interview was from a couple of days ago. Let me go and look up and see if he's released any darn pictures, because I don't believe it. I don't believe anything this man is saying. Oh, wait a second. Wait just a second. I got something interesting for you guys that I just found. I got something interesting that I just found. I didn't find any pictures, but I found another interview where somebody exposed him. Hold on. Mark Lamont Hill exposes Chris Todd for exploiting the memory of Kim Porter. Okay, so we're going to go to that after this, but let's keep listening to the bullshit.
So I'm all for it. I will fight for her. And if somebody proves to me that it's fake, albeit prove it.
All right. Chris Todd, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jesse.
All right. So there.
Hold on, beloveds. Okay, yeah, there we have it. A bunch of lies and BS and in the window. I don't believe one word of what he was saying. I don't believe one word of it, but hold on, because let's go to this other interview. Hold on, let me cue it. Let me cue it. We are about to get into this, honey. I slipped up and found this completely by accident. All right. Let me just put up an overlay because I don't want any drama with Mark Lamont Hill.
The woman who tragically passed away. And Kim Porter is a woman that many people have argued had a story to tell, and in fact started to write that story before she died. Well, this summer, I believe in July, a book came out. We ain't gonna do no fancy graphic because I'm one of the people that bought it and read it. It was called Kim's Last Words: A Journey for Justice from the Other Side. And I read it because I wanted to understand what was.
I worked Aaron Hernandez, Emmett Till.
Why did you feel confident that this was not something they made up?
So yeah, and if I could have a little time to explain that, I'd appreciate it.
Break it down, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because I work a lot of famous and civilian cases. I've solved murders. I solved the greatest murder case in history. I revealed O.J. Simpson's murder accomplice. I worked Natalie Wood's case. I worked Aaron Hernandez, Emmett Till. I have 3 civilian cases I work currently. One of my books is behind me here. I caused a lot of.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. This fool said that he worked Emmett Till's case. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. He said he worked Emmett Till's case. What did you need to prove about that? We already knew who did it. Okay, is he serious? Exact 2 said he needs to be sued. Exactly. Clearly delusional, Empress. But let's continue with the bullshit.
Waves on that. Our trial's coming up here in a month. It's going to be the biggest child murder story in the country. So I'm familiar with working with whistleblowers, sources, killers, accomplices, kidnappers. The people I work with are unsavory. Not all of them obviously are, because I have to work with family members and lawyers and DAs and regular people. So what I'm trying to paint a picture is these people knew who I was. Okay, they knew what I did. So obviously, I don't believe everything someone says, even if they're a whistleblower or source. I don't just take their word for everything.
Of course not.
So,
right.
So over a multi-month period, I put them through the test. And if you
what is this period? When did the period start?
When I officially received. Okay, I'll say it this way. The first time I found out that this was out there was about 6 months ago.
Okay.
When I officially began meeting them officially, because there's a lot of people involved.
So the 2 people reach out to you in around March-ish and say, hey, we got something you need to see on a flash drive.
They come, really, it's probably been more amped up the last 2 months. That's
okay.
Because at first they wouldn't tell me who the sources were. So I was dealing with somebody else, they're saying this, almost like hearsay, right? They say this, if you'll do this, they'll give you this.
And I want you all to pay attention. He's talking about hearsay. Queen Hewitt said he's unsavory. He damn sure is. But he's talking about hearsay. Well, what he's saying is hearsay. He's not giving us anything conclusive. He's not telling us the names of these people. He's not giving us anything specific. So yes, it is hearsay as far as he's talking. He's talking about somebody was giving him hearsay. That's what he's doing right now. And also, please pay attention to how he's gaslighting and deflecting, because Mark Lamont Hill just asked him, how did he know that the people who gave him the information for the book were being truthful? Now, he's saying all of this, but he didn't answer that darn question yet. So let's see. And then he is lying and fumbling and stumbling over his words. He went to say one thing and then said, well, let me just say it like this, because he's trying to think of the answers as he goes, because he's lying. He's making this stuff up right now.
If you do this, they'll give you the tapes.
What were they asking you to do?
What's your credit card debt balance? If it's $10,000 or more, here are 3.
They're testing me.
Okay. Well, let me ask a more specific question. Did you pay for it?
No comment.
No comment. All right.
Let me say this. I guarantee you guys, he's never going to produce any video footage. I believe he's lying, trying to make himself sound more convincing. He's not going to produce any video footage. How much you want to bet? But let's continue.
I'll allow the audience to make whatever interpretation they want about that, about what that means when someone says no comment to did you pay for the source. Continue. So after you did whatever they asked you to do in order to satisfy their conditions for seeing the stuff, you then got to see the stuff around July.
It's yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
No worries. It's like a test. When you have a whistleblower coming forward, it's a dangerous situation. If we talk about Diddy, right, and we talk about poisonings, was Kim poisoned? What happened to Jamie Foxx? What happened to Albie Shore? These things are swirling around. What happened to Chris Lighty? What happened to Shakir Stewart? What happened to Heavy D? They would tell me these stories. And I'm like, look, I'm not saying he's a serial killer. I was just listening.
But then what one could think that from this book.
What's that?
I said from this book, one could draw.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and let me be clear, because I don't want anyone to think I'm defending Diddy in this. Diddy is, to me, if every page in this book is true, or if nothing in this book is true, I know enough and have seen enough and have heard enough to know that Diddy is a monster.
Exactly.
Right. So but from this book, I mean, there's some pretty heavy allegations here.
Well, and also, when I first read it, I was only shown pages at first. I never saw the whole manuscript. Okay?
Well, I think that's where the July thing came up for me, because in July I started to see pages on the internet. I assumed
because I was leaking.
Okay, so that's why initially I said that people were talking about it in July. I thought it was actually out, but I realized now you're mentioning it.
Yeah, and I don't and look, I don't know. When I approach people with the media, I have a long history with the media. Yeah, I have other private investigators that work for me. Sometimes they do things undercover, and they leak things to people to see. I've got a lot of people that work with me. Okay, it's not just me. I couldn't do this by myself. It's a monster. It's a 800-pound gorilla. I can't kill it by myself. Okay. So what I'm saying is, if you
Let me read a couple of comments. Overthought says he took out celebs' names, but left the part about the pregnant freak-offs for the kids to be embarrassed. Exactly. And then he wants to sit here and act like he's protecting Kim. Who in the hell would put that out there? Okay. And I don't believe it anyway. Who's having freak-offs when they're pregnant? Who's telling somebody they did it? And who writes that about themselves? I don't believe it. Like I said, okay, I do not believe it at all. Please sit down somewhere. This man is full of crap. Okay? This man is absolutely full of crap. Now, hold on. Let me go to one more comment. Troll with Truth says he comes off as shady and unlikable, but there is a reason why he's risking 1 million lawsuits to gotta be something he has as leverage. Maybe I'm gonna tell you why he's risking lawsuits. He's risking lawsuits because of greed. He literally said in the other interview that he made $1 million in 12 days. So if he keeps up at that pace, he'll be making millions within a month of the book being out there. So of course he's willing to risk that through greed. Okay? That's why. And if I were Albie Shore and the rest of Kim's family and friends, I would put out a cease and desist on his arse so that he could not continue to sell it until we get settled. Okay, I'm trying not to curse. And then Terry Hinn says, why would Kim embarrass herself to the world? Make it make sense. Exactly. She wouldn't. She wouldn't. She would not embarrass herself. Troll with Truth says, fair enough. She would not embarrass herself. She would not do that. And especially knowing that her children are adults, 2 of them, and they could read this, and her daughters are old enough to read it. So she would not put this out there. I'm telling you what I know. My good friend went to high school with Kim and knew her. Okay? Kim would never have done that. That's just a fact. They need to send out a cease and desist at the end of the day. Okay? So anyway, let's continue with the bullshit.
Heard a rumor in July, it might have come from us. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, some of the stuff I saw in July is in this book. So either it's either someone else, was sold the book or had a chance
It's
to get it.
probably us. Now that I'm
Okay.
thinking, it's most likely us in
So
some way.
talk to me about, and then we'll get to some of the specifics in here. But how did you fact check it? Like, they come to you with all these claims. For example, I'll give you a concrete claim. There's a claim here in chapter. The chapters are very short, so there's a chapter here that says that that Diddy and Al B. Sure. I'll use the Al B. Sure one because he has responded to it. What I don't want to do is drag more people into the mud.
Let's not talk too much about Al B. Sure because he's threatening to sue me and file a case with the Department of Justice. And if he rubs me the wrong way, I'll take care of this whole thing legally quickly. So
the reason why I'm mentioning Al B. Sure is, again, like, there are people here who are named to have done things that I haven't seen any proof for, and I don't want to spread a rumor about something that's not true.
With Al B. Sure,
he's publicly said this. But in the book, you say that Al B. Sure and Diddy engaged in a threesome with Kim, and that they had been lovers before, all of them in different matchups and components.
Well, if you really look at the book, it doesn't necessarily say that. And because in the book I X'd out. Well, I X'd out. If you look at the pages.
Now he's telling a damn lie because I read the book to you guys. Well, not the book, but I read the excerpts that Al B. Sure posted on his Instagram. I read that to you guys. And that's absolutely what it says. Now, what's he doing? Painting the word salad? What's he doing here? Okay, because that's absolutely what one would gather or come to the conclusion of from what he wrote. Now he's trying to change it. And I want you all to pay attention. He's trying to change it because Al is suing his arse. That's what it is. Oh, hell no, it sure did. Okay? Exact2 says, trust me, he didn't fact check anyone, and Al B. Sure should sue your arse. Exactly. And he is going to sue. And here's the thing, beloved. I don't think he had to fact check anything because, in fact, I don't believe anyone gave it to him. I believe that he made that BS up himself and is now hiding behind the guise that someone from Kim's camp, 2 people in the industry who knew her and Diddy, gave it to him. And I want you to pay attention because at first he said that 2 people were involved. And then if you listen, he later said that there was a lot of people involved. Did you all catch that? He said 2 people were involved initially. And then later in the conversation with Lamont Hill, he says there's a lot of people involved. I just want y'all to pay attention. This man's lying.
There's a bunch of X's. It doesn't say what happened.
Let me read it so that the audience can at least get the context. And this is the only thing I'll read.
That's up to you, my man.
Yeah, and this is the only thing I'll read from the book. But I want people to have context just so that people don't think that I'm misspeaking. So
money, I'm a flex. I get that money, I'm a flex.
They're sitting in a room. This is Al B. Sure and Diddy.
I don't want you to use the G word that they say. I don't want you to say that word on the air.
The G word, okay.
The G word that refers to a man.
I won't do that.
I don't want you to say
I won't do that. I don't think it's even necessary for where I'm going. So they were all sitting around and said Al was loose after a couple of drinks. I remember him saying, "It's still weird seeing you with my friend, but you're happy. So I'm happy for you guys. Thanks, man." And Sean says, "Me and you, we've shared so much." Al replied coolly, "Word." The conversation took an odd and awkward turn when Sean said, "We all been together sexually, but not together." And then Kim says, "I was shocked for a minute as quietness lingered in the room. I asked, what do you mean by all together?" Al shifted uncomfortably, but Sean didn't hesitate. "You know how we sometimes invite other people into our bed?" I couldn't believe it. "Oh, hell no, Sean." So just from that moment, I think Al B. Sure's issue is first the claim that this whole conversation happened. Second, the claim that he and Diddy had sex, and then of course your point is by the end of the scene that you paint or that she paints allegedly in this chapter, some stuff happens between them. She doesn't like what happened. She runs out of the room, and they keep doing whatever the thing is that she doesn't like. Right? There's a clear and strong sexual implication there. But at the very least, the book unequivocally states they've already previously had sex. I'll be sure is suing you for that.
I don't know if he's not suing us. He's threatening to sue me.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But I'm
He
saying
wants
is,
to sue.
and even to me, it doesn't. I know what you're saying. Like it quickly says, well, we've all been together before. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what Kim is doing there. I don't know what she's trying to say. She's obviously saying, I'm focused on what she's seeing. Okay. If I remove those X's, right, that would have been a problem. But I did you a favor, I'll be sure, and I did you a solid. They didn't want me to. I made the decision to X that out. Okay.
But my point is, if you also made a decision, if we believe that this is Kim's book, then and we believe that Kim is a truth teller, then we also believe that they've already had sex.
Okay, but let me say this real quick too. Let's also talk about what a writer is. Okay, what a novelist is. I think Kim did a great job with this.
Why do you believe this is Kim? I don't want to go like way off. Like let's No. I was using that as an example to ask the question of how did we vet.
I'm trying to address. I know, but I want to address this real quick. Just real quick.
Sure.
Writers sometimes can do roman à clef. They can use fiction and nonfiction, reality, and they can blur the line. Okay? She has every right to do that. Can I unequivocally say they did that in front of her? No. I didn't write the book. It's not me saying it. It's a woman, It's an abused woman from the grave. Let's remember that. So if she's saying that, and she has every right to take liberties and to tell a story, and if that's the story she wanted to tell, I was shocked too, trust me. He's the father of Quincy. She was married to him first. It's strange. But the thing is, this whole Diddy thing is strange. Nothing is shocking me anymore. So when I first read some of this stuff, I was sort of turned off. I was the audience too. Like, that's how I say that. So this is a long process, but thank you for giving me that quick.
No. So again, using that example, how did you determine that this was true? Not. I get what you're saying about she could have been using license, but my point is, someone came to you with a hard drive saying that Kim wrote it, something we don't know for sure, and they gave you a story that could or could not have happened. We don't know for sure. But as a journalist, you made decisions about whether you trusted it or not. Why do you trust that story enough to publish it?
Sure. First of all, I'm an investigator. That's really what I am. I say I'm an investigative journalist. I'm an investigative producer, journalist, and author.
Yes.
I am. I was also an actor and a director and a writer. I was. Okay. So there's many things. I'm not one thing. But when I do something like this, I'm an investigator. Do you think I really would just trust them? Whatever they said is true? Absolutely
I hope not. That's the question.
Absolutely not.
How did you investigate it? What did you do?
I'm getting at that. Okay. It's the same process on all these books you see behind me. And I have a lot more cases than that. I have over 30. It's the same process. If you watch my interviews and you listen how I talk about how I investigate someone or something, I'm all over you. I don't believe you at first. And if I see any red flags, I'm out. I never saw any red flags.
Is somebody asking for money for a story from a dead person who never put out a story a red flag?
This is your chance to win a trip for 2 to New York to see 4 Broadway shows. To enter the sweep.
If who's asking
if somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, there's a famous person who died, and I have a secret memoir with no authentication of it. I'll pay you. I'll sell this to you." Is that not in and of itself not a red flag?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Because see, and also I'll say this too, because people know me in the Hollywood game, and I'm unorthodox and I'm controversial, and they know people deserve to get paid. The problem I have is in Hollywood, and people want things for free, and you write a script for free. I don't play any of that. And I don't play the story when the media goes, "We don't pay for stories." Yeah, you do. Do you pay your reporters? Do you pay your cameramen? You do. So when you go to like a whistleblower or a source, even if somebody came to me and goes, I want to sell you this book, talk to me. Talk to me. If I'm gonna, what if I go sell the movie rights? Is it a product to me? Partially. Is it a business deal? Partially. So I have no problem. I'm not saying I did. I'm saying I have no problem if I had to pay somebody for what they have. Because think of it this way, Mark. If I don't, how do I get it? Why wouldn't they go to the next bidder in Hollywood? Hollywood pays for stories every day. They could have, these people from this could have ran to studios, but I know why they didn't. Because I know they were scared.
Okay.
They're afraid. They don't want their name on it. That's why they've got the random Caucasian guy, which is what they're calling me online. I know I'm being played by these sources. That's the game. I already.
Oh, hell no. Now I want you all to listen. He literally just said, I know I'm being played by these sources. Now, on the last interview, he said that he might be being played and he doesn't care if it is, it's okay. Now he said he knows he's being played, so you know that it's all lies and BS, sir. This man is a hot mess, but let's continue.
Already know that, and I'm playing them.
Well, no, I actually don't think. Some people think you're being played. Some people think you're lying, and you're being disingenuous by the whole thing. But I don't want to get away from this question about. So how did you investigate the story?
That after.
Sure, but please, how did you just tell me? How did you investigate the story? You're an investigator first. How did you investigate a story like that one? How did you decide?
I mean, we don't have time for me to tell you the process of how I investigate something like this. Let's just say it this way.
Now, I want you all to pay attention. You see how he's never answering the question? When Mark Lamont Hill first asked him about 15 minutes ago, how did he prove or verify what they gave him? Or what made him believe them, basically? I'm paraphrasing. But Mark asked him something along the lines of what made him believe them. And he said, oh, I don't just take anyone's word. There's a process or whatever. But he never specifically answered the question as to what made him, take them at their word or whatever, that it came from Kim. And so now he's saying that, oh, I can't go through the process of my investigative. Oh, really? So now you don't have time to tell him? Like, dude is lying. I want y'all to pay attention.
I lived it, breathed it, slept it, blood, sweat, and tears nonstop for as long as when I was.
Just give me a little hint. So with the Albie Shore story, I know you can't go through everything. Give me the general bones of how you went about investigating that, because we got time.
What I would say is, like, with just Albie Shore's story.
Sure.
The first thing that I said to me, who the hell would make that up?
The pineal gland has tiny little cilia, hair-like extensions all around.
That's the first thing in my gut feeling, because I go by feel. Some of my fans are in here today. They know me very well. I talk to all my fans every day. They know me personally. I like that when they know me. First question is, who would make that up? Who? Why would anybody make that up? That was the first thing.
Okay.
Then when I look at it, and I start to see a couple things about Albie Shore, I start seeing that it's possible, right? That he possibly is, I don't want to say the word, maybe he loves women and men, or I'm not going to put a label on somebody, but I saw some things that rang true to what the sources were telling me. So there's no red flags yet, right? Got a couple things. Then I do a little sniffing out again. I do more research on Albie Shore and Kim. I research about their son and what happens with Diddy and this adoption. And I start seeing things. I ask other people. And I do believe that this is true. Now, I'll say this. If it's not true, then that's Kim as a writer. I can't control that.
Right. So these stories that you got access to these stories in July, it sounds like.
I knew that this manuscript existed before July.
Right.
I said about 6 months ago.
But you read it in July.
I read the first pages about 6 months ago. I
Okay.
read the full thing probably in early July, end of June. I have this for a few months.
And it came out September 9th. So I guess my question, it just seems like you didn't have a long between June or July and it coming out in September is 2 months, and you had time to publish it, format it, read it. It doesn't seem like you had a lot of time to vet a whole book full of stuff.
Well, let me say this. When I did my OJ case, I was on it for 7 years.
That's a long time. Yeah.
It's too long. So I don't do that anymore. Like I'm doing Kurt Cobain. If you look here, Kurt's Army, and this is my new thing is Kurt Cobain. I'm not staying on these long anymore. I got burned on OJ. I won't do it. So
The reason he's saying that he got burned on OJ is because people who have direct knowledge of the case called him a liar and said he's full of shite. People who read the book that he did on OJ said that it was all cat and that he made up things and that he's delusional, which is the exact same thing that I'm saying about this book. Now, Troll with Truth says, who's making money off of Kim's book, if not her kids? Where's the money going? Beloved, the money is going to him. The money is going to him. That's why he said in the other interview that he made $12 million. I'm sorry, he made $1 million in 12 days. The money is going to him. Okay, and the publisher. Exactly. But let's continue.
what I do is it's going to be fast and furious, 6 months, 8 months. That's it.
Right, but some of this manuscript you didn't read. You only had a few weeks to read.
Wait, bestie, don't press that skip button. We are looking for motivated people to take online
and investigate.
No. I mean, I read the whole thing in 1 hour.
Obviously. No, but I mean, right. So you got it in July, and it came out September 9th. There's a process to get it out.
Yeah, so I can do a lot in 30 days. I'll tell you, in 60 days, if I had July and all of August, you.
Now, I want you all to pay attention, okay? Because I'm an author myself, and I have a couple of books coming out soon. They're being edited. But let me tell you all something. At the end of the day, he's saying that he read the book, vetted the information, conducted an investigation, and then put all the book together and had it published in 30 days. He did all that in 30 days. I'm telling you right now, he's definitely lying. Okay, he is definitely lying. And to think that this man has made $1 million off of Kim and her death, okay, and lies and nonsense in 12 days. So if he keeps at that rate, in 24 days, he'll have 2 million. And then it'll keep going and going and going. I want you all to pay attention. And so I would advise you all not to buy this book. Okay, do not buy this book because this man's a whole grifter and he's disrespecting Kim's legacy.
You give me 60 days, that's plenty of time for me to do it.
So let me ask you a question. If I were to ask you right now, how sure are you that you didn't, or if I were to ask you tomorrow, how sure are you that you did an interview with Lamont Hill? You'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10. If I said to you, how sure are you that you did not do an interview with Oprah yesterday? You'd say 10, right? You're sure of it, right? On a 1 to 10, how sure are you that Kim wrote these words?
Rolling Stone interviewed me yesterday, and there's another publication coming out. A major one I dealt with today. I gave this answer, so I'll give you my own unique answer for you, right? But it's already been published. I already addressed this, okay? So I use the phrase, like, if you put my feet to the fire, right? And God said to me, you better tell me the truth or else. Okay, and you're asking me a 1 to 10.
Yeah, on a 1 to 10, how sure? I think that gives us a good gauge. Like, you're sure you talked to me. If I said on a 1 to 10, how sure are you that the Bible is real? You may say 7, 8, 10, 1, depending on your faith. What would you say for this? On a 1 to 10, how sure are you that these are Kim's words?
9.
Wow. Did you Did you vet any of this with Kim's family or friends?
I approached a couple people that were in the celebrity camps. I didn't necessarily go straight to Kim's family. People were purporting to be Kim's sister and cousin. I don't even know if they were real. Okay.
You're an investigator. You can find that out.
I know, but let me say this about families. I don't always work with the families on something like this. So I did not go to the family first. No.
Okay. But I'm not asking you to them first. Did you go to them at all?
Kim's mother is deceased. Kim's father, I did not go to. And then whether she has sisters or cousins, I did not approach them.
Now, here's the thing. He's saying whether she has sisters or cousins, I didn't approach them. Whether, so he's saying he doesn't know. If he's such an investigator as he claims, and he does all of this thorough research and investigations, why wouldn't he know whether or not she has sisters or cousins? Why wouldn't he have gone to her father, family, friends, anyone mentioned in the book? Why wouldn't he have gone to them? It's because he knows it's lies. That's why. And he knows that if he went to them before publishing this, before having it published, that they would have told him, if you put that out there, we're going to sue you. And as for Troll with Truth saying that he sounds confident in telling people, about suing him, that doesn't reek of confidence to me. That reeks of intimidation. Like he's just trying to scare somebody off. Like saying, oh, if you sue me, I'm going to drop this. So now he's making threats. He basically threatened Al B. Shore that if you sue me, I'm going to put out more information. Sorry, that's very close to blackmail. I want you all to pay attention. He literally said that. He said Al B. Shore needs to watch it because if he rubs him the wrong way, isn't that what he said verbatim? If he rubs me the wrong way, he can put out more information. That's what he said. This man is a piece of ish. Okay, please pay attention.
No.
Okay. Just when you say I didn't go to them first, one would think that you went to them, just not first. But you didn't actually go to them.
No.
Okay. So you didn't go to the family. What friends did you go to?
I'm not going to name them.
Okay, but you did go to some friends. Okay, and they verified these stories?
Well, let's think of it this way too. Now, if Kim Porter did a flash drive, right?
Now, why couldn't he just say a simple yes or no? Mark asked him, did he go to some of Kim's friends? And he nodded his head yes. He's lying. Her friends have come out and said that this is all lies and cap and that it's disrespectful. Her friends have said this. So which friends did he go to? He's not going to tell names because he doesn't have any names because he didn't go to any of them. He's sitting there lying. You can tell by the look on his face. It's quite obvious. He didn't go to any of her friends. He didn't go to anybody because he wrote this himself. Nobody gave it to him. Nobody gave it to him. Please pay attention. This man is lying, and he's making up these answers for Mark's questions as he goes. If any of Kim's friends gave it to him, why can't he say who they are? Or not gave it to him, but if he asked any of them, went and spoke to any of them, why can't he say who they are if he's telling the truth? Why would they not want him to tell the truth? If he asked them about the book and said, hey, listen, you guys were friends with Kim Porter. Do you all believe the stuff in this book is true? This is all crazy. Let's continue.
Right? Do you think she really told anybody that she had tapes of Diddy copied onto the flash drive that could get her killed? Do you think she really would show other people? I do believe there's one person that she showed.
Did you talk to that one person?
Yes.
Okay. So, because here's the challenge. If you say,
but do you understand what I mean by why I wouldn't go to the family? Because then I'd be giving them all the leverage would be on them. This is not about her family. It's about her.
Right. But the problem is, if you're saying that she has a secret.
You can skip this video, but you can't skip the truth. Right now in North Gaza, children are going.
And she didn't share the secret with anybody.
Except a couple people.
And then she died.
Yeah.
And then someone found this hard drive.
They don't find it. She gave it to them.
She gave it to them. Did she give it to them and say put it out in the world? So you think if Kim wanted someone like you to have it?
Not someone like me. I think, look, okay, when Kim gives it, whether it's in the cloud or it's a flash drive or it's both, the book talks about that, a password to the cloud. She's talking about like, Sean, I've got it. I can go in the cloud, or I've got the discs, the tapes, the drives. There's many ways to keep this, right? It could be backed up in the cloud. There's a passcode that's given to this person, right? What I'm saying is obviously they sit on it for 5 to 6 years, right? Because they're most likely scared. So that those people close to Kim and Diddy didn't want to come forward, and definitely not come forward right away, because they would have. Why would they come? Why would I be here 6 years later? They had many opportunities to do that. Obviously, they didn't. I don't know why. Maybe somebody soured it. Maybe they got a threat from Diddy. Nobody was even investigating him then. He was like scot-free back then. Think about that. Now it's different. Now it's like, oh, this is Cassie's coming. And I will say this. I was told by one of these sources that the Cassie lawsuit and Little Rod and Diageo and all that was partly from this. That this was actually already starting to be talked about in their hip hop circles, in that kind of culture, if we call it that. They were already buzzing. That's why you see a lot of they were trying to destroy Sean Combs, okay? Because he was like suing the liquor company for discrimination. Cassie was like, I'm coming after you. Little Rod was coming. There were multiple lawsuits. And we know for a fact that some of that is involved with this book.
Did you speak to Lil Rod?
No, I did not.
Did you speak to Cassie?
No, I did not.
Did you speak to Diddy?
No, I did not.
Okay. I'm just asking for clarity's sake. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't.
I'm an open book.
I guess my other question about this is, so if you think that Kim wanted someone to have this information from a hard drive, but you said she didn't want someone like you to have it. If you know she didn't want someone like you to have it, why would you put it out?
I don't know what you mean by someone like you.
Well, I said, do you think she wanted it published? And you said, and someone like you said, no, not someone like me.
I'm
earlier.
saying not person. I don't know. I didn't know her.
Well, let me put it differently. Do you think she wanted to put out in a book like in this form?
Yes.
Not you personally.
Yes.
Okay. You think this is how she wanted the book to come out?
If you're dying, right, and you're coughing up blood, and you text your friends, he got me, and there's no doctor, and Diddy's telling her, oh, we're going to get the doctor here, and there's no medication, and there's no doctors, okay? She's panicking. So I do believe that part of this flash drive and or memoir manuscript was actually given to one of the sources in 2017 through my investigation. The final pieces, the last chapter of the book, because she's writing as she thinks she's dying, that part is given that week of the death. Then it's put together. Yes, most likely, let's be honest, by the sources, most likely they're arranging that, because I can tell by the font and stuff that it's similar. There's some stuff where there's some different font, okay? But those pages were not written by Kim Porter. One of the sources was trying to talk to the audience. I removed those. I only want the audience to hear Kim's voice.
Okay. And like, again, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're on a 9 that this is Kim's voice, Kim's word, that it's authentic. Diddy has the ability, according to the book and according to other people, to blow up cars, to kill people, to literally to frame multiple murders of the most famous Black people in America. How did he not stop this book or get access to his hard drive?
He had many opportunities to do that.
Why didn't he? Why didn't he?
Why didn't he stop Cassie's lawsuit?
Well, lawsuit's different than a tell-all book from someone who's already dead.
Why didn't he stop Little Rod and Cassie? Why did he let them come forward? Why didn't he pay them off?
So all interesting questions, but what would your response be to the
First of all, he did pay Cassie off. What is he talking about? He did pay Cassie off the next day.
to the viewer right now who's a little incredulous, who raises that question, if Diddy's this powerful, how did he let this happen? Your answer is just he lets lots of stuff happen.
I'm going to answer your question. Why does Diddy let Gene Deal talk and Jaguar write?
If you're like me and you like getting paid to give your opinion, then go to beforthright.com. Sign up and forthright.
Because he didn't handle his business. I work with a lot of mafia guys, and I'm sorry to throw this out there. I've learned a lot of these things from my journey with some of these guys. Handle your business. They call it a sit down. The mob invented it. So if Diddy had Cassie, Little Rod, 8 other women, other guys, lawsuits coming down the pike, handle your business. If he knew Kim had the tapes. He knew that. Absolutely.
I just want to reiterate, when you say handle your business, you mean talking, because the implication that for some people would be like violence. So again,
not violence. Pay money, pay them off.
Why is he making this about Diddy? Sir, just answer the darn question specifically. Like, give it a rest.
Catch and kill. I'm not talking about killing anyone. I'm saying a sit down in the mafia game is not murdering someone. A sit down is a negotiation. Break bread, talk. What Diddy did was his ego was so out of control, right? That he couldn't do it. He couldn't give Little Rod the money. He wouldn't give Cassie the money. Then he gives Cassie the money the next day because he got caught. See what I'm saying? And if he really handled his business, none of this stuff would have come out. Not none of it, maybe ever. But we all know these things, these civil lawsuits triggered these investigations because you can use those in criminal court. When you say something in a civil court, it can be used against you in a criminal court. He had.
Again, why is he now switching the narrative to talk about Diddy and Diddy's legalities that he's involved in, Diddy's legal issues? Why is he talking about that? Sir, we don't need you to tell us about Diddy. We already know about all of that. Okay? Please sit down somewhere.
Had to handle his business, but his ego got in the way. Hubris is all of our downfall. Okay? His ego got him into jail.
Do you know?
I'm not sticking up. Look, let me say this too. I'm not sticking up for him because I know people are going to go crazy. This guy's talking about paying everybody off. It's not right what he did. I don't know what he did. I didn't witness any of it. What I'm saying is there were ways to appease these people. Okay? He didn't kill Cassie, did he? Right? He didn't kill Little Rod, did he? Did he again? But I'm saying, and it's a weird situation, but that's just how life is. This is just how it works. They obviously wanted money. I had a lawyer one time tell my friend, "Oh, you're extorting them because you're asking for a catch and kill." It's civil lawsuits could be called extortions. These people have been abused. There were damages. They asked to, hey, pay me for my.
Okay, I've heard enough. I'm sorry. I have to move on. I've heard enough of his bullshit. He's clearly lying. I don't believe anything he says. I don't believe anyone gave it to him. I think he made it up. I don't know why they would have chosen him to give it to. And he says people know him in Hollywood. Well, I've never heard of him until now. Have you guys ever heard of him? Christopher Goose, a.k.a. Chris Todd, a.k.a. Jamal T. Millwood. Okay, it's very fitting that he would use such a black name for the pseudonym, Jamal. I just want you all to pay attention. He's definitely a colonizer, in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, I still don't believe it, don't believe the book is authentic, and don't believe he's telling the truth. Okay, but that's just me. So that being said, let's talk about Diddy's bodyguard, his former bodyguard, Mr. Joseph Sherman, aka Big Joe, who has been accused, along with Diddy, for raping Ms. Thalia Graves. Okay, so let's get into it. In 2001, I do believe. So he issued a statement. He has issued a statement to which I'm going to share that on the screen, and we're going to get into it. Okay, well, before I get into that, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, so now let's get into this right here. Okay, so Joseph Big Joe Sherman breaks silence on allegations of sexual assault linked to Diddy. This is the former bodyguard, and these are about the allegations that were alleged in 2001. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get into it. And here's some pictures of him. That's him in the red shirt, and that's him in the white standing next to Cameron. Now, that being said, Sherman, reportedly a former bodyguard of Sean Diddy Combs, is speaking out against shocking accusations that he participated in a violent assault on a woman over 2 decades ago, Thalia Graves. That's the alleged victim. She claims that she was drugged, bound, and raped by both Combs and Sherman at Diddy's Daddy's House recording studio in 2001. The lawsuit filed recently has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, but Sherman insists the accusations are completely false. Now, in a strong statement shared on Instagram, Sherman called the allegations baseless and an attack on his character. So he says the claims are baseless and, in fact, an attack on his character. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to read you his statements. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, I'm going to share the screen so you all can see the statement yourselves. Excuse me. All right, so this is what Mr. Sherman has to say. New York, New York. Okay, September the 25th of 2024. Joseph Sherman, a respected figure in the entertainment industry and former celebrity bodyguard, vehemently denies the false and baseless accusations made against him in connection with Sean Diddy Combs and an alleged incident in 2021. These claims are false, and Mr. Sherman is committed to clearing his name and protecting his reputation. Now, at the time of the alleged incident, Mr. Sherman was not employed by Mr. Combs and has never had any interaction with the accuser. Throughout his career, Mr. Sherman has upheld a reputation of professionalism and integrity, and he refuses to be associated with this fabricated story or this clear attempt at a money grab. These accusations are not only false but damaging to my character, he stated. I have never met the accuser, and I was not working with Sean Combs during the time in question. I will be pursuing legal action to address this defamation and protect my name. Mr. Sherman's legal team is already preparing a defamation lawsuit to be held accountable, to hold accountable those responsible for spreading this damaging misinformation. As social media and public discourse have taken this story out of context, Mr. Sherman wants to make it clear that he will not be part of this unfounded media frenzy. Now, statement from Joseph Sherman's attorney, Antoinette Williams, says, "We stand by Mr. Sherman's innocence and are taking swift legal action to address this fraudulent claim. This false accusation is clearly an attempt to exploit the current situation involving Mr. Combs. We're pursuing a defamation lawsuit against all parties involved in these allegations and will ensure that Mr. Sherman's rights are fully protected under the law." Now, Joseph Sherman began his career as a celebrity bodyguard in the 1990s, working with high-profile clients across the entertainment industry. Following his tenure in security, Mr. Sherman transitioned into artist management and later into publishing, where he continues to build a successful career. And then it says they took down the first one. Okay. All right, so that all being said, he's denying the allegations, said that he's going to be suing for defamatory, defamation, libel, and slander. All right, so with that all being said, we'll see what happens. I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. Overthought says he's an illegal corn pusher with a P. Well, here's the thing. That is what has been alleged. And so we'll just have to wait and see, what comes of it all. But if that lady was lying, she deserves an Oscar for that performance because she was really putting it on. Okay, if this is all lies. Okay, if this is in fact lies. Now, with that being said, I don't know. I don't believe anything Diddy says, but this man, Joseph Sherman, I don't know him to say. All right, so now let's move right along and talk about the Secret Service agent that got suspended. Okay, for supposedly, allegedly groping one of Kamala Harris's staffers. Okay, so let's get into it because I find it all nefarious. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds.
New tonight, with the Secret Service already under a microscope, we're now learning about an alleged groping incident by an agent against a staffer for Vice President Harris. Apparently, this happened in Wisconsin, according to what our NBC News team is told here. The agent had his gun and his badge taken, according to a law enforcement official speaking with NBC News. We've got team coverage on that and every big political angle today with Vaughn Hilliard and Kelly O'Donnell traveling with both candidates. But I want to start with Ryan Nobles on these new allegations. And there's a lot of new details that are coming into us tonight. Ryan, walk us through it.
Yeah, that's right, Hallie. And two law enforcement sources have told our Julia Ainsley that this incident happened sometime last week. It was during an advance trip that members of the Secret Service and members of the Vice President's office were going to for a planned trip that Kamala Harris was going to take to Green Bay, Wisconsin. She ended up not taking that trip, went to Atlanta instead. But it was during this effort by the advance team where at the end of the day, after their work was done, they'd gone out to dinner with members of the campaign team, members of the Vice President's office, and there was some drinking that took place on their way back to the hotel. There was a situation where these law enforcement agents say that a staffer for Kamala Harris claims that this Secret Service agent created an unwanted advance and groped her without her consent. And this is something that the Vice President's office takes very seriously. They put out a statement to that effect, saying that the U.S. Secret Service Office of Professional Responsibility is investigating a misconduct allegation involving an employee. The Secret Service, this is the Secret Service statement, not the statement from the Office of the Vice President. The Secret Service holds its personnel to the highest standards. This employee has been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. But let me show you what the Vice President's office said about this as well, because it acknowledges the fact that they believe that this is a sexual misconduct situation they're dealing with. The Office of the Vice President takes the safety of their staff seriously. We have zero tolerance for sexual misconduct. Senior OVP, that's Office of Vice President officials, were alerted to by the Secret Service about the incident involving an agent and that the Secret Service initiated an investigation. Now, we're told that this agent who is accused of this has been put on administrative leave. That means that their gun and badge were taken while this investigation is underway. And of course, Hallie, this comes at a time where there's just an enormous amount of scrutiny around the Secret Service in the wake of these two assassination attempts against former President Trump. Just this morning, a scathing report came out talking about miscommunication and just human errors that took place during that rally in July. It's leading members of the United States Senate to say that this organization needs to clean house. Hallie.
I agree. They do need to clean house because I already told you all about that dream that the Secret Service was involved and whatnot. So definitely they need to do that. Okay. And so that all being said, now let's go to Kabami because she did an interview, a one-on-one, and people are saying that she pretty much got roasted for it. And they said that it was a soft interview, but she still screwed up. So I don't know. So let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. Hold on here. Because they're saying that people just went all in. Okay, here we go. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Let's get into it. Support the arts. Here I come.
With Vice President Kamala Harris. The interview will air in full tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. But here's a preview. Here's what she had to say about Trump and his threat to impose tariffs.
Tariffs aren't unique to President Trump. President Biden has tariffs in place. He's actually looking to potentially implement more. Where do you come out on? Is there a good tariff, a bad tariff?
Well, part of it is you don't just throw around the idea of just tariffs across the board. And that's part of the problem with Donald Trump. Frankly, and I say this in all sincerity, he's just not very serious about how he thinks about some of these issues. And one must be serious and have a plan, and a real plan that's not just about some talking point ending in an exclamation at a political rally, but actually putting the thought into what will be the return on the investment, what will be the economic impact on everyday people.
Steph Rule joins us now. Steph, Mark Cuban keyed off on this as well, the potentially calamitous impact of the kind of tariffs Trump is talking about. I'm glad you asked her about this. Tell us more.
I mean, Trump's plan would be economically disastrous, but it's tricky because President Biden has some on the books. He's potentially looking to do more. But what Kamala Harris is really talking about, right, the idea for tariffs, or when Trump gets on the podium and talks about it, he's talking about bringing back American jobs and bringing back American manufacturing. You got to get real because.
Okay, so with that all being said, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to the full interview. Okay, I'm going to the full interview. So here we go.
No, that hurts. But the
Out your economic vision for the future. Yeah. But still, there are lots of Americans who don't see themselves in your plans. For those who say these policies aren't for me, what do you say to them?
Well, if you are hardworking, if you have the dreams and the ambitions and the aspirations of what I believe you do, you're in my plan. You know, I have to tell you, I really love and am so energized by what I know to be the spirit and character of the American people. We have ambition. We have aspirations. We have dreams. We can see what's possible. We have an incredible work ethic. But not everyone has the access to the opportunities that allow them to achieve those things. But we don't lack for those things. But not everyone, you know, gets handed stuff on a silver platter. And so my vision for the economy, I call it an opportunity economy, is about making sure that all Americans, wherever they start, wherever they are, have the ability to actually achieve those dreams and those ambitions, which include, for middle-class families, just being able to know that their hard work allows them to get ahead, right? I think we can't and we shouldn't aspire to have an economy that just allows people to get by. People want to do more than just get by. They want to get ahead. And I come from the middle class. Look, my mother raised my sister and me. She worked hard. She saved up.
I'm not trying to be funny, but how many damn times do we have to hear about her mother and how her mother raised her and her sister? Okay, I'm sorry. Shout out to her mom for doing a good job. But why does she have to keep bringing us down memory lane talking about her mom again? How many times do we have to hear it? Please pay attention.
By the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy our first home. And, you know, home ownership for too many people in our country now is elusive. You know, gone is the day of everyone thinking they could actually live the American dream. So part of my vision for the economy is let's deal with some of the everyday challenges that people face and address them with common sense solutions, such as affordable housing.
Okay, so guys, hold on for a minute because I'm going to go to what's going on with this weather. Okay, I want to get the updates on Hurricane Helene. They just posted an update about 10 minutes ago. I want to see what's going on with that. We'll get back to Kabami with her bull crap.
Claim throughout the night, and so we make sure that they take safety precautions. We'll make sure they're definitely making sure that they think about safety first while they try to render care to someone else. And we're thankful that we have not had any reports of any of our employees experiencing any medical issues.
Mayor, has there been any power outages at hospitals or medical facilities?
No, we have Grady here with us, and Grady is still operating. We stay on a constant check-in with Grady Hospital, Northside Hospital, Piedmont Hospital, as well as Emory, to make sure that they're all still operational. Everybody's doing fine, and we have ambulance.
They're talking about us here in Atlanta, beloveds. They're giving updates on how it's affecting Atlanta.
Land services as well, that we do periodic check-ins to make sure that we have ample coverage.
What is your hardest hit area?
It's just a different reason. So right now in our Northwest Atlanta corridor, near Buckhead and Peachtree Creek and Nancy Creek, you're seeing the creeks rise, and so you have flooding. That's where you saw the boat rescues that have occurred, and you're seeing lawns with water in them. Some of that is causing, those are troubled areas because of the floods. And then we've had power lines down in other areas. And so those folks are experiencing loss of power. Don't want to weigh what's worse, but those are the things that we're seeing.
Okay, so yeah, we're having trees and all that stuff going down at the end of the day. Let me see what they're saying about the Gulf Coast. Hold on, beloveds. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Wow, this looks absolutely crazy. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
It happened on a Monday.
Recreation forestry crew, the DOT folks that have to block off roads, they were all in danger throughout the night. And so we make sure that they take safety precautions. We'll make sure they're definitely making sure that they think about safety first while they try to render care to someone else. And we're thankful that we have not had any reports of any of our employees experiencing any medical issues.
Mayor, has there been any power outages at hospitals or medical facilities?
And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is giving an update now on the impact of Hurricane Helene. Let's listen.
Good morning. We're back at the State Emergency Operations Center here in Tallahassee. I'm joined with Kevin Guthrie, our Florida DEM Executive Director, as well as Jared Perdue, our Florida Department of Transportation Secretary, and Major General John Haas, the Adjutant General of the Florida National Guard. As you know, Hurricane Helene made landfall last night as a Category 4 hurricane at Deckle Beach in Taylor County. Maximum sustained winds were 140 miles per hour. It made landfall moving 23 miles per hour. We saw storm surges in many parts of the west coast of Florida that exceeded what we saw in Hurricane Idalia, which took a similar track. It was similar strength, maybe a little bit weaker, but you were seeing significantly more storm surge in places like Tampa Bay. We also saw major storm surge, of course, in the Big Bend region. We did report that there was a traffic fatality last night. We also this morning can report that there's been another fatality reported in Dixie County due to a tree falling on the home during the storm. Overnight, as soon as it was safe to do, and even in many cases probably wasn't perfectly safe to do, search and rescue operations were conducted to help people that were in distress and transport them to safety. These missions continue, but we've had thousands of missions successfully completed in the overnight hours throughout the state. This is our local first responders. This is local in conjunction with state assets and state assets directly going in and effectuating rescues. And that's the National Guard, that's Florida Fish and Wildlife, that's all the assets we had available to help support these rescue efforts. And all the calls that any state officials responded to last night, we were able to find the person or people and pets and bring them to safety. And so that's a contrast from some of the things that we saw, for example, at Hurricane Ian. Now it's still early. They're going to have those folks who were responding to those calls. They're going to be doing broader search and rescue in those areas that did get hit with significant storm surge and see if there's any any other problems or if there's any folks that are still left behind. But as of now, we don't have reports of that. And so those missions were successful, and those missions saved a lot of lives. So I want to thank all the first responders, our folks working for the sheriff's departments, fire rescue, of course, all our state assets. Everyone was ready to go. I mean, it made a big difference for what was a really historic storm surge in different parts of the state. We have currently, as of 6 a.m., 1.24 million accounts without power throughout the state of Florida. Since the storm has begun, there have been 1.16 million accounts that have already been restored. As of 6 a.m., we have 382,000 accounts for Duke, 284,000 for the co-ops, 253,000 for the munis, 233,000.
Okay. Okay, so with that all been said, we can get back to Kamala in just a second. So the reports are saying that, and I keep calling it Hurricane Helene, it's Helene. Okay, so it goes on to say that it's moving over Georgia toward Tennessee Valley. And here's what we know. Now, this came out probably about maybe, I guess, an hour ago, it looks like. So anyway, it says Hurricane Helene made landfall in Florida's Big Bend as a Category 4 storm late Thursday, knocking over power in over 2 million homes and businesses. Now, he just said 1.6 million have restored their power, I do believe, and causing at least 6 deaths in Florida and Georgia before barreling toward North Carolina and Tennessee Valley on Friday. Now, the center of Helene, which has been downgraded to a tropical storm since making landfall, was located about 30 miles northeast of Athens, Georgia, as of 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Okay, the National Hurricane Center said the maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour. Helene is expected to bring damaging gusty winds and life-threatening floods to the southeast and southern Appalachian Mountains, with total rain accumulation up to 20 inches in isolated areas. Tornadoes are possible Friday through parts of eastern Georgia, the Carolinas, southern Virginia, and tropical storm conditions are expected to persist along the Georgia and South Carolina coast. Mandatory evacuations have been ordered in Asheville and McDowell counties in North Carolina, as rivers and reservoirs are expected to swell from the heavy rainfall. And multiple schools in Kentucky and Indiana will be closed today, on Friday, as winds and heavy rain pelt the region. Okay, so that's your weather report for the day. I'm a whole meteorologist. Please pay attention. Okay, so now let's get back to Kabami and this bullshit. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Wins. And you've just laid out a big plan. But still, polling shows that most likely voters still think Donald Trump is better to handle the economy. Why do you think that is?
Well, here's what I know in terms of the facts. Donald Trump left us with the worst economy since the Great Depression. When you look at, for example, the employment numbers.
It was during COVID, and employment was so high because we shut down the government, we shut down the country.
Even before the pandemic, he lost manufacturing jobs by most people's estimates, at least 200,000. He lost manufacturing plants. Ask the auto workers how he lost auto plants. We have grown over 20 new auto plants. He has an agenda. Let's just deal with it right now going forward, not to mention what happened in the past. He has an agenda that would include making it more difficult for workers to earn overtime, an agenda that would include cutting off access to small business loans for small businesses, an agenda that includes tariffs to the point that the average working person will spend 20% more on everyday necessities and an estimated $4,000 more a year on those everyday necessities, to the point that top economists in our country, from Nobel laureates to people at Moody's and Goldman Sachs, have compared my plan with his and said my plan would grow the economy, his would shrink the economy. Some of them have actually assessed that his plan would increase inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. So the facts remain that Donald Trump has a history of taking care of very rich people And I'm not mad at anybody for being rich, but they should pay their fair share. But tax cuts for the billionaires and the top corporations in our country, and then not really paying much attention to middle-class families. My perspective on the economy is when you grow the middle class, America's economy is stronger. And there's empirical evidence to prove my point correct.
Then let me ask you about taxes, because lots of people will say, I don't like Donald Trump, but he cut my taxes. He didn't just cut corporate taxes, he cut individual taxes. Now that expires next year. And there's some people confused saying, I don't know what's going to happen next year. Under a Harris administration, at what income level should someone expect their taxes to go up? And that state and local tax deduction that's currently capped and matters to a lot of people in blue states, are you going to lift that cap?
So first of all, when it relates to anybody making less than $400,000 a year, your taxes will not go up. Your taxes will not go up. And in fact, under my plan, taxes for 100 million Americans will actually be cut, including $6,000 a year for young couples for the first year of their child's life in a tax cut, a tax credit, essentially, by expansion of the child tax credit. And why is that? Because during the first year of a young couple, of a person's child's life, they're going to need help buying a crib, buying a car seat. And we all benefit when they're actually able to do what they naturally want to do to take care of their child.
And expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
My friend Kamala is coming up on one of the last major fundraising deadlines before Election Day. So when I say that your donation will go a long way, I really mean it.
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share. I am not mad at anyone for achieving success, but everyone should pay their fair share. And it is not right that the teachers and the firefighters that I meet every day across our country are paying a higher tax than the richest people in our country.
Bill Gates just said it this week. If he was in charge of taxes, he would have paid more. But how do you find that line to make sure corporations are paying their fair share, but they're not leaving our country?
Well, listen, I work with a lot of CEOs. I have spent a lot of time with CEOs, and I'm going to tell you that the business leaders who are actually part of the engine of America's economy agree that people should pay their fair share. They also agree that when we look at a plan such as mine that is about investing in the middle class, investing in new industries, investing in bringing down costs, invest in entrepreneurs like small businesses, that the overall economy is stronger and everyone benefits. Part of my plan for the economy is investing in new industries in a way that we have active partnership with the private sector. I've worked with the private sector my entire career. Even as vice president, working with some of the biggest banks and biggest tech companies to increase by billions of dollars the money going into community banks to increase access to capital for small businesses. Why do those biggest corporations and CEOs do that? Because they know those kinds of investments, like in our small businesses, in startups and entrepreneurs, actually strengthens America's economy overall, and everyone benefits. So this is not about bilking anybody, but it is certainly about saying, let's make sure that we create opportunities for everyone to grow wealth. I believe that it is not sufficient, and it should not be our goal to just make sure everyone is working. That should be the baseline. That should be a given. And let's create an economy where people have the ability to buy a home, to start a business, to take a nice vacation from time to time, right?
For people who want to buy a home, yes, getting a $25,000 kicker would be great. But it's not just affording a home. We don't have enough in this country.
You're absolutely right.
And one of the main problems are regulations and rules, strict rules at a local level. How does the federal government cut through all that red tape and get down to, the suburbs of Pittsburgh and say, we're going to have to build some affordable housing here? How do you connect the two?
So you're absolutely right. So across our country, people rightly are concerned about the cost of housing. So it's home ownership, to your point. We need more supply. That is without any question, part of the solution. Creating more supply under my plan includes creating tax incentives to work with the private sector and home builders. Part of my goal and the plan would be to create 3 million new housing units for rent and for ownership by the end of my first term. It includes also what we must do to cut red tape. You're absolutely right. It takes far too long and there's too much bureaucracy associated with home building. And I say that as a devout public servant. I know that we have to reduce the red tape and speed up what we need to do around building. And that is going to require working from the federal level with state and local governments. And it's going to be different in different places, depending on the needs of that community, the needs of that local government, that municipality, but working in consultation and coordination and also around incentives that we can create. For example, some of the work is going to be through what we do in terms of giving benefits and assistance to state and local governments around transit dollars, and looking holistically at the connection between that and housing, and looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing for working people.
Then let me ask you a business that matters a lot to this town.
Yeah.
U.S. Steel.
Yes.
Right? When you think Pennsylvania, when you think Pittsburgh, you got the Liberty Bell in Philly, and you got U.S. Steel in Pittsburgh.
That's right.
A Japanese company wants to buy them. You are opposed to this idea. Many people are. But if the deal doesn't go through, they have said people could lose jobs, they could close mills, they could leave the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, that is like moving the Liberty Bell to Newark. So which is more important?
It's most important that we maintain America's ability to have American manufacturing of steel by American workers for a number of reasons, which includes, again, back to the point of growing our economy and how I think about the economy overall, investing in new industries. There is not a new industry that I can imagine that is not going to require steel as a manufacturing of steel as a fundamental part of what it accomplishes. And having American workers in an American company manufacturing that steel for those new industries is going to be critically important, not only in terms of our economy, but also in the context of national security. Most people now realize if we didn't before the pandemic and the strain on supply chains and an over-reliance on foreign manufacturing, that we have to be intentional about US-based manufacturing. And of the products that we have to prioritize, steel is one of them. And that's always going to be my priority.
Steel workers matter in this country. Unions matter.
Yes.
In 2016, Donald Trump connected with unions. He saw them. There was an emotional connection. But what he didn't do was deliver policy. In the last 4 years, we have seen huge wins in this country for unions, but not all unions have gotten behind you. I want to understand, when the Teamsters decided not to endorse you, what was their reasoning? What are they looking for?
Well, let me go back to our just previous conversation. I'm very proud to have the endorsement of the steelworkers and almost every other major union in America, because I stand by workers and I stand by the importance of being able to join a union and to understand the benefit and the value of unions. And I understand the importance of investing in new industries and working actively with the private sector to grow our economy.
But I'm asking because there's this idea, we want something more from her. What is it?
Well, here's the thing, that back to your point about previous election cycles, Donald Trump made a whole lot of promises that he did not meet, and one would argue broke. Look at Lordstown. He said he was going to—
Don't sell your homes.
Yeah, don't sell your homes. And what happened? It shut down. Outsourcing under Donald Trump. His policies that are about putting, tens to hundreds of % tariffs.
John Deere.
Yes. Yes. So part of the challenge, and I don't disagree that it's a challenge, got to earn the vote of everybody, is reminding people of fact, regardless of what somebody says in a small rally somewhere. And I think that's really important. And that's part of what I'm doing in this campaign, is to remind people, just like here in Pittsburgh, of the reality of who has stood with union labor, who stands for American manufacturing, who stands for American jobs.
Can I ask you about tariffs? Because you just mentioned it. It's not just with one company. Donald Trump's sort of big idea is this broad-based tariffs across the board. You and many others have said that would be not only disastrous, but it would be a direct tax on the American consumer.
It would be a sales tax on the American people. That the independent economists have already measured this by the sales tax of doing a 20% tariffs on all imports that he has described would be a 20% sales tax, in essence, on basic necessities for the average American worker, average American family, totaling almost $4,000 a year. That is no small matter. Here in Pittsburgh, when I'm talking to a group of folks who work here,
Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm tired of the word salad, but also let's go to a next clip where they say that she got roasted for this interview. We're going to go to that because I've got to get out of here. I have some other stuff to do. But let's talk about it and see what they're saying because they claim she got roasted. Okay.
some of the work is going to be through what we do in terms of giving benefits.
I don't think we know, but I do think that holistic is her new favorite word. And this is something that she tends to do. She will hone in on a certain word that she thinks is going to therefore make her answer sound better. And it's actually quite impressive that she could give a 2-minute long answer, lots of words, as you know, Todd, and say absolutely nothing. She usually will start with these feel-good platitudes. Holistic is her new word. She'll go to the American spirit and passion. Then she'll quickly pivot to her middle-class upbringing and her mom, and then she'll round it out with a phrase like affordable housing, giving absolutely no details at all.
Well, so far, no lies detected, but let's continue.
I think the part that I enjoy the most is watching, in this case, Stephanie Ruhle, listening to her last week when she talked to Oprah, almost these blanks looks on their faces as they're listening to her speak, realizing this is a terrible answer, and somehow this is the best we have in a presidential candidate for the Democrat Party. So I find it highly entertaining, and it's very clear why the campaign hasn't wanted her out there talking to people.
You neglected to mention the lawn. She likes to mention that her neighbors had nice lawns. Let's not forget about that. That's important to determining a president. But I'm glad you mentioned the interviewer, Stephanie Ruhle. She went on MSNBC later on in the day and actually called out Kamala Harris for not really answering any questions, but really the answer on taxes. At this point, Beverly, are we ever going to get any specifics with less than 40 days to go before we all vote? Are we going to get any specifics on how she's going to pay for all this or on her economic plan in general? Because quite frankly, yesterday in Pittsburgh, Beverly, we didn't get much.
The only way we're going to get any answers is if the press actually presses her. And even when she was talking about raising the corporate tax rate, Stephanie Ruhle kept coming back and said, well, how are you going to do that if the Republicans have both the House and the Senate? And it's almost as if Kamala Harris was never a senator herself and knows how government works. But she just kept saying, we just got to do it. It's almost she thinks if you wish upon a star in a Disney movie that these things can magically happen. And again, it's quite embarrassing that somebody who has been in government, who is the Democrat nominee, can't answer a simple question of, well, you know how government works. We have separation of powers. There's a certain process, and she won't even address that.
I'm so glad you mentioned Disney movies. I watch a lot of them. I often question logically how they get from A to B, but that's okay in a Disney movie because it's fantasy. This is all too real. This is real life, and she is running to lead our country. The gentleman who allegedly is running our country now, Joe Biden, he was on The View and stumbled when he was asked about Nancy Pelosi forcing him out of the 2024 race. Listen.
Did you feel that your hand was forced, and what is your relationship with Speaker Pelosi now?
Our relationship is fine. Look, that wasn't the reason that I stepped down. I stepped down because I started thinking about it. You know, it's hard to think of, I know you're only 30, but it's hard to think of, it's hard for me to even say how old I am. No, I'm serious.
Beverly, is that your standard run-of-the-mill that we've seen over the last decade, Biden stumbling, or is he literally struggling to acknowledge the fact that he was forced out by Nancy Pelosi.
That was one of the quickest pivots away from Nancy Pelosi I've heard him use, because he and Nancy Pelosi, of course, have had a close working relationship and friendship for decades. Now, I think what we're seeing here is quite the love fest of Joe Biden, him giggling with the members of The View. There was even a point where he put his forehead against Joe Behar and they looked longingly in each other's eyes. I think this is his consolation prize, because he continued to say in this interview he would have won, that he thought the polling was in his favor. We all know he was pushed out. Even Whoopi Goldberg mentioned that at one point, that she didn't like the way this went down. And yet I think what we're seeing is the Democrats and the left-wing media said, if you will do this, if you will step down, we will praise you. We will talk about you being like George Washington and being on Mount Rushmore. And I think we're just seeing it in full display, what they gave to him if he did step down.
And we still have yet to see.
Not George Washington on Mount Rushmore. This is all crazy. Now, one last video. This is a clip of the White House. They say the White House dodged questions about Kamala's interview or about her controversial policy. Okay, here we go. Going to share my screen.
Well, to me, looks like a dead heat. But my question is, how can Trump or Harris break out?
We always operate like that's going to happen, Stuart. We have the term October surprise. Yeah. I'm not sure we should play like the rules of the past half century apply to 2024. You know why? Voting's already begun. I mean, I don't know how many states now have already opened up early voting. So what you're seeing, or where we are today, might just very well be where we are 1 month from now. You know, just to build on an interesting conversation you're having both with Lauren and with Kyle. Kyle, you asked Kyle what would be good for the economy, what election result. And his answer to you was he doesn't know where Kamala Harris stands on the economy. And then Lauren gave out to you there what's most important to the voters. For me, by the way, I don't know what preserving democracy means. I don't know. Is that people all suggesting Donald Trump is a threat to democracy? Or does that also include people on the right who are concerned about election integrity? I've never understood that as a polling question. Yeah. But the number one issue I hear about always, Stuart, is the economy. Yep. And for Kamala Harris, if she remains a mystery box or you have to fill in the gaps because you're not sure, well, then I think you're going to either see her base deteriorate among independents, or it's going to be, to answer your original question, where we are today and where people are probably voting in early voting today.
Yep. All right. Well, I want you to listen to the White House dodge questions about Kamala Harris's gun. Watch this.
What kind of gun does the vice president have, and when did she buy it?
That's something for her office to speak to.
The reason I'm asking is because you have this event today, but the VP, as district attorney, sponsored Proposition H in 2005, would have banned handguns within San Francisco city limits and required that residents turn in the handguns that they already own by a certain deadline or face mandatory jail time.
When it comes to the VP and owning a gun, she can speak for herself. The campaign could speak for that. Her office can speak for that. I'm not. That's for them to speak to.
Well, KJP didn't look too happy with that question. Why was it so difficult to answer? A very simple question.
KJP doesn't, she is the most front-facing person that has to answer for Kamala Harris, who's not officially associated with the campaign and candidate of Kamala Harris. And I'm sure she's frustrated because the mandate has probably got to be don't answer, which she should be practiced in. She's been doing it for years for Biden. But this would apply to guns. Those are great questions there by Jackie. It would apply to fracking in Pennsylvania. Yep. It would apply to reparations. Is she in support of reparations? We know she has been in the past in support of reparations. It would apply to the border. Are you the person who left the border open for 3.5 years or now acts like you would be the person to build a border wall? If this is the point of her candidacy, it's to remain a mystery, and it's Karine Jean-Pierre's job, I guess, by default, to keep up the magic, keep up the mystery.
It's very tough to do that.
Okay, I don't know what he's talking about when he says that she was previously for reparations. I'm sorry, when was this? Because I clearly missed the memo. Because the last I heard when they asked her about reparations, she said she's not doing anything for Black people. Okay, so I find it all interesting. Now, Dark Skin says she will not support. Hold on. She will not support any type of reparations. No, she won't. And Dark Skin Brother says if I ask both of the men about reparations, I bet they will choke as well. Of course they will. Of course they will. Weezy says support. You are the lie, but you are a fan of Margaret Sanger too. Not Margaret Sanger. Okay, Tracy T said, I missed the memo too. Okay, clearly we did. So with that all been said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Listen, Kabami's still with the word salad. She's still not answering questions directly. She has a whole bunch of, tactics to where she gaslights and deflects. And I guess that's all she's going to do, before the election and likely after when she's interviewed, because she's just not really good at doing interviews, in my opinion. Okay, so yes, and I agree with the woman who said, with the news reporter who said that she now understands why the Democrats don't want her out here doing these interviews by herself and why they've stopped her from doing them for such a while. I absolutely see that's why as well, because she's not very good at speaking and answering questions, and it's a bunch of word salad and saying the same old talking points time and time again. And I'm quite frankly tired of it. So with that all been said, I love you all to life. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Enjoy your strong end, not the weekend, leaving you in a weakened state of mind. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got